Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Hello LLC. Today is our Wisdom Wednesday. If you don't know, it's about to get real energy, real vibrationists, real frequencies ish in here. I'm trying to say those all the right way because Tara is going to be dropping some mics. She's going to be dropping some crystals. She's going to be dropping all of these amazing things on you. And that's what today's conversation is about. We encourage you guys to come and visit us live in our metaverse, Hello Plaza, that you can join us from your laptop. You can join us from your iPad. And yes, the thing that you're holding right now in your hand right now, you can literally press 4 buttons and come and visit us in the Hello Plaza from your cell phone. It blows me away that so many people, want something different, need something different, exploring something different. But when you give them the opportunity to do just something different, oh, no, I don't have time for that. What? Press 4 buttons and come in here and visit us in our Hello Plaza. We've been able to set up some amazing new environments. We also have been showcasing to you guys this week the amazing Hello AI chatbots where we're integrating AI with metaverses. We've been sharing with you guys for the last year that this AI is just the beginning. And even with metaverse, it's just the beginning. And now we've also been sharing with you guys robotics. We shared with you guys last year that, these robotics are about to take over left and right. And you're seeing that in fast food restaurants. You're seeing that in so many traditional things that you've been utilizing, but really not been paying attention. What do you call, when you go to Walmart and you get to, scan your stuff? That's AI at its finest, where it's detecting the weight and all of these things and making sure you're getting what you need to be getting. And today's conversation is really going to be around this fear. It's going to be around, what we're going to be talking about, is fear holding your brand back? And stop self-sabotaging your business, which is really what today's conversation is about, and being able to overcome these things and leave here with some actual strategies that you guys can implement into your business, into your brand, and more so at the end of the day, into your life, which is what this is all about. If you guys don't know that Hello truly wants more for you than from you, and we want you to be able to elevate your mind, elevate your body, to have that conversation with the soul so you can move forward and you can do the things that you want to do. It just takes you to believe in those things, number one. And so if you don't remember nothing else, we want you to leave here, whether it's for a second, 5 minutes, an hour, it ain't gonna be 2 hours, but we want you to leave here and tell yourself, hey, I believe in myself. And so without further ado, my other half, my partner in life, my partner in crime, partner in business, you guys, here goes Tara. Love, what you got on this topic today? Talk to us.
Happy Wednesday. If you're with us, just say thank you because at the end of the day, you're alive and you're well. And there's some people that didn't wake up like that today. So it's so good to be here. I'm excited to have a conversation with you guys all about is fear holding your brand back? And are you self-sabotaging yourself or are you just, not sure? Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, we all fear the unknown when we don't know what we don't know because we don't know it. I know I said that, 3 ways to Sunday. But when we don't know what the fear is, we will, our mechanisms as being humans will stop us. We will not do it because we are scared of rejection, failure, being hurt. It's that survival mode as we do, as humans only can do. So again, come join us in our metaverse room. This is an amazing conversation, and you can jump in and drive the golf carts around and run things over, drive it through the house, have golf cart races with David while he's in there, and I'm chit-chatting with y'all. But, it's a different experience, and you can do it from your phone or you can do it from your laptop. You don't have to put on 3D goggles to do it. And I say that because all too often, David and I will get the question of, do you have to have 3D virtual reality goggles to get in? And it's like, nope, you don't. And that's okay. When we hear virtual reality, we kind of think we have to have special equipment. But David and I And our team, we want to make sure that we make this an easy transition. So that's why we make sure you guys can utilize the equipment that you have, that you're listening to us on LinkedIn or Clubhouse or Twitch or Twitter, aka Exit. I always, say Twitter because we all just know it as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of those spaces. So, we're going to get this conversation. I also want to invite you all up. If you want to come talk and have share what your feelings are, your 2 cents are, what you have, discovered in this conversation. This is an open platform for you guys and a stage for you guys to come up. This is just not about Tara and David sitting up here as the professors and lecturing, as all of us get so bored when professors do that. But with that said, let's get this conversation rocking and rolling. So, is fear holding you back in your brand? Is your brand fear based? Are you self-sabotaging yourself without even knowing that? And as David said, fear stands for fear. One more time, love. I always get this arranged. One more time. Thank you.
Focus, energy,
Energy arranged to
to
react. There we go. Thank you, love. I greatly appreciate it. And so when we talk about focused energy, we know where our energy is where our attention goes. So where you focus your energy, where your attention is, that's where you are going to spend your time. And I was just having this conversation with my family about, just life in general, that first of all, I think people need to understand that subconsciously, our everyday habits of what we do, eat, breathe, drink water, go to the restroom, sleep at night, all of these different daily functions, walk, talk, talk with your hands, all these things that, you're doing conscious movement, and it's actually subconsciously. You are doing over 90% of your actions and daily movements and things that are subconscious. I'm not actively telling myself to breathe right now as I'm talking and having this conversation. And so what is really important for people to understand is fear pops up in our subconscious before it ever pops up in our conscious. And that is why we are either in fight or flight or rest mode. And that is just your human brain and your subconscious want to keep you in the most safe, restful position and spot it can be in for a long term. It rather have you be safe than out there fighting or flighting. And so that is important to understand, because when and think about it like this. You can see so far, right? If you're standing out in an open pasture or an open, yard, you can see so far, with the naked eye. And that is kind of your sense of surroundings. You can get a grasp for that. But your subconscious can actually virtually see. It can, unconsciously see further than what you physically see with your eyes. Why do I share that with you guys? Because your subconscious is at work all the time, and is trying to keep you in a safe mode, curled up in your most cozy position in a fortress, and it doesn't have you out there exploring new and different things. It really takes conscious effort to be able to identify that fear and work through it. And that, guys, that's why David, when he talks about focused energy being arranged, is that subconscious level that is running 95% of our day and our daily functions and bodily functions and all that. That is so it's so connected but disconnected from your actual conscious knowledge, that you are unaware that when fear pops into your subconscious, you're not even aware that you're in fear, because your subconscious is already trying to sort that out. So, Tara, why do you share all this? Because what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is your subconscious is holding you within a and I have my air quotes up with my fingers, a self-sabotage, anti self sabotage. It's trying to make sure you're not self sabotaging yourself way before you can consciously understand that that's what is going on and that is what is at play. And so it is extremely important for people to kind of understand. I'm a why girl. I need to know how mechanics work and things work so I can understand the big scope and the big picture of things. And I share that so that way you have that knowledge base to understand, when fear is popping up in your conscious level of like, maybe say you're scared of heights and you get to the edge of the Grand Canyon and your body is flipping out. The anxiety level is high. You want to sit down, scoot back as fast as you can. You want to get away from that edge as fast as you can. That's a conscious effort. Your subconscious, before you ever get to that edge, is already working against you or for you, one or the other, because it's trying to keep you safe, period. That's it. And so I share all of this because a lot of times we are stuck, not struck, stuck. Let me get my words correct here. We are stuck in fear and paralyzed by fear, and we don't even know it. That is why you might say you have something to do in a business, or you're going to start a business, and you keep on saying, well, I don't have my business cards, I don't have my web page, I don't have this, I don't have that. You keep on coming up with quote unquote, air quotes again, excuses, because you don't, your subconscious level is already freaking out about, is this going to be safe? It doesn't know, so it automatically wants to put you in a safe mode. So it's then generating these excuses and things that pop up so people will, stop what they're doing and stay in the comfort area of what they're doing. So before I go ahead and move on, I would love to, open up this conversation and this mic. And Love, do you want to jump in here and add to this?
Yeah, I see we got Miss Cleo.
Maybe not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Nope,
sorry.
there he is.
We got
That's
we got
okay.
Miss Cleo in the building as well. If you guys don't know about Set Yourself Free, I highly encourage you to go check out her amazing Biz in a Box. She's going to be launching her podcast in the metaverse in her actual Hello Plaza studio, where you guys are going to continue to see how podcasting can be a completely different than the old crusty dusty ways that we're so accustomed, to listening or to even being a part of, these podcasts. And then even more importantly, right, instead of you sending people to Spotify or you sending people to YouTube, which you still can do, people can literally come and join you in your 3D immersive environment that's going to set you apart. And this is what we continue to remind people is that, we all want something different, but are you willing to do something different, to get that different aspect? And more importantly, to appeal to this younger generation, although, you might be more experienced, we want to remind you guys that the average age is 30 years old. And so, especially when we talk about, this fear, this is something that we don't want you guys to have to worry about, is really allowing your fear to capture you. And so here is a prime example, of Miss Cleo's, those of you that are watching us live in our Hello Plaza, this is where now she gets to tell people not only go to my Biz in a Box, but now she can say, hey, you can go to Metaverse from, your cell phone. And you can learn about, my coaching. You can learn about, my empowerment group. You can come listen to my podcast. You get my free resources that I have an abundance of. And then instead of her telling people to meet her on Zoom or meet her on this 2D flat, green screen with a circle, that people are calling Go Brunch, it's definitely not metaverse. So if you hear anybody talking about Go Brunch is metaverse, you sit there and you tell them, no, it is not. Please stop telling that fib. This, what the Hello LLC has provided to you guys, this is the true immersive environment. And so, as me and Tara share with people all the time, ain't no such thing as a halfway crook. So don't be halfway doing it, especially when you talk about, entering into this metaverse. All you have to do is download the app once. And once you click the link, boom, you are in there. And so, Miss Cleo, love, if you have anything you want to add, to this conversation, please feel free, introduce yourself, tell people about your brand new podcast. I don't want to take the fire away from that, but let's go, let's grow.
Hey, David, Tara, and everybody listening. Good evening, everyone. Super excited to join into the conversation. I think it's a great topic. I can definitely relate to that topic for sure. In fact, the topic is what really motivated me to start my business, Set Yourself Free, because I had to set myself free from the fear of failure. And I know that a lot of people experience it and then don't know how
Uh-oh, Miss Cleo, you're breaking up on us.
so I want to share that just a little tip to begin the journey. Send your
Miss Cleo, we got you in the matrix. We got you in the matrix.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, well, we can hear you now. Keep going. Keep going. You cleared up now.
Oh.
Nope, you went back. That's crazy. Every time you say, "Oh, you're clear now," and then it goes back to scramble. But if you would try to see if you can exit and then come back up, or get in a better area, because it might be the area that you're in that you're cutting in and out. And we're live on all of our platforms, so we want to make sure people can hear you for sure. Yeah, you're still breaking up on us, Miss Cleo. So, Miss Cleo, I'm put yourself on mute, and then when you get in a better area, come on back up or unmute yourself, and I'll let you share again with us, about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And so, Miss Cleo is absolutely spot on. When we talk about self-sabotaging and fear. And one of the things that she talked about, right, is the fear of failure. And not only that, there's also the fear of success. There's at some certain point that you can get fearful of all the success of outgrowing your company. And what if you get all these clients? And what if you get all of this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to, balance all of these, things up in the air? And we get that. And then, the other fear that I really think that gets people is the fear of judgment. Because when we look at fear, I think we got to break these things out into different segmentations to understand which one is more prevalent to you, right? Because fear of failure might be one, fear of success, fear of judgment, the fear of unknown, right, is a huge thing. And then being able to understand, the fear that disguises itself as, procrastination, right? Perfection, undervaluing ourselves, our services, and then playing small, and then being negative bases. I think those definitely are some fear disguises. How fear disguises itself is that some people just want to be perfect, and this is something that we share with people all the time. It's like there's an island, and you're in the ocean, and you're on this inner tube, and on this inner tube you got the right hand and you got the left hand. And a lot of the times what happens is that we do with the right hand, consider that learning. And a lot of the times we just learn how to do a podcast. What equipment do I need? What am I going to say? How many people am I going to have invited to my podcast? What if this? What if that? And we're just utilizing this left hand. And if you haven't known, that if you're in an inner tube and you use one hand, your ass is going in circles. And so often we, have these disguises that show up as fear, just be trying to learn things and procrastinate and be perfectionists about things, when you really got to get that left hand, which is action, and start using that more than you're learning. So when you right, left, you're making your way towards the actual island to get there faster, other than just continue to learn. And as I just shared this with Miss Cleo, as she's being an amazing pivot member, the other day we were talking about her podcast and about her business. And I said, look, we're not going to find out what people want until we actually do it. And they will tell us what they want and how they want it to be, showcased to them. And so often, in a lot of business owners that know this, that you can do all this strategic planning all day long, but until the actual event happens, and it shows up, that's when you're going to find out what needs to be done, and things might go completely opposite from what you planned it, right, from doing, and that's okay. And I don't mean in a drastic way, where something happens and you got to go left field. I'm just saying, these things happen, and then the cost of fear is really stunning our growth, and we're missing opportunities by you not putting that action, and we're decreasing our motivation, and we're getting burnt out. Right, and so those are things that I want you all to understand as I hand it back over to Tara. That is huge, that you got to be able to understand the common fears, right? What type of fear? You need to understand what the disguises are and what they show up as, and then also understand the cost. The cost of success is a whole lot lighter than the cost of regret, because the cost of regret leaves you in no man land. That, oh man, I wish I would have did this. Oh man, I wish I would have did that. Oh man, I wish I would have did this, and that's weighing on you. And some of us have some of these things weighing on us right now, wishing we could have did this in our relationship, wishing we could have did this in our business, wishing we could have did this in our family, and it eats at us all the time because it's the unknown. And so that's really where we want to be able to focus on, and how this is messing up, your business and your relationship, because they are one and the same. How you act at your business, at your job, is the same way you act, in your relationship. They're not different. When we were, programmed, we were always told, oh, you can separate these two things. No, you can't, because how you communicate, how your feelings, how your emotions, how you react is in both situations, if not worse, in your relationship, because you're a little bit more comfortable. And so this is where we're having this deep dive conversation. And so Miss Cleo, try again for us and see if you got in a better area where we can hear from you. Okay, or love, go ahead, Miss Cleo.
Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I was just saying that you shared so many things there that was so important about fear, and how it disguises itself as other things like procrastination, and we tend to start believing the things that we tell ourselves. And I think Tara touched on it earlier, where she was saying, like, our brain is wired to focus on the negative. And there's lots of studies that have been done on that. But it's also studies that says that we have the ability, our brain also has the ability to learn new things. And if we develop a pattern of behavior of being stuck in fear, we also have the ability to break ourselves out of it. And one of the things that you were saying earlier is, are we willing to make the change, or are we willing to do the work? And I think that to add to that, it's not just are we willing to do it, but are we, because we can have the will and not make the commitment. I think having the commitment makes a difference, and the resolve within ourselves, like, hey, I am going to make this change. I am going to sit down and I'm going to make an analysis of the pros and cons of holding on to this fear, and really understanding the root cause of where this fear stems from, and then put into place the things that I'm willing to do in order to overcome that fear. Like, for example, when we're talking about business, in my own personal experience, making excuses, as you said earlier, or saying things like, I really don't have time. But really being honest with myself as to, like, do I really not have time, or am I taking my time to do other things that are not productive and is not going to move my business forward? Sometimes we'll say things like, oh, people are not interested, or we're not getting the response back from our efforts to advertise or get clients. And everything is going to change. So I just wanted to add that in there. And this is I'm passionate about this as well because this is part of my story. I live that, and like I said, fear could be for many different things, but for me in particular, it was a fear of failing that held me back from a lot of things in life, and now getting to the point of really making the decision to explore where does this come from, what actionable steps can I take, and then implementing those, and now having and seeing a lot of different outcomes in my business, in my personal life, just by being willing to do that exploratory work. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, and those.
Oh, real quick.
Yeah, go
Real
ahead.
quick, sorry, I forgot this. I forgot this part. If you want to know more about my story and behind Set Yourself Free in the podcast, definitely join me this not this Saturday, on September 7th in the Metaverse. I'll be streaming live, and it will also be on other platforms as well, but I'll definitely be in the Metaverse, and that will be the launch of Set Yourself Free, and you will get the backstory behind it, learn a little bit more about the podcast, and what is to come. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, and I'm actually in your back office studio right now, that people can come and see, how how your podcast, will be, displayed, and how this is completely different than, trying to do your podcast on Spotify or trying to do it on Zoom, that's crusty and dusty and just got your face up there with your name. We've literally taken it to a whole new level. And the biggest thing that people have to understand is that you can invite your guest to come into Metaverse in their avatar and have this conversation with you. And people that join you in your Hello Plaza, studio, they can be a part of this podcast as well. So this is really where we set you apart from anybody else. And then we record this actual, live event. And that in itself is your actual podcast. And so, this is where we want to share with you guys all to really be able to implement these newer technologies and not just, be old and crusty and dusty, because I'm here to tell you they're going away. I was looking at a TikTok earlier today, and the guy was like, if Gucci, got into the gaming industry and they start, getting into these immersive environments and doing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, he doesn't know, does he? He doesn't know. They'll never know. And I'm like, brother, Gucci's already in the metaverse, and they have a metaverse storefront, and they just sold a purse for like, $3,500 that a woman will never be able to, put their receipts in, their wallet in, their makeup in, all that junk that they put in there. Speaking from experience from my mama, and really being able to understand that we're moving to a digital age. And man, too, right? It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, but literally Gucci is already there. And so I put it in the comment. I haven't heard anything back, but that's the crazy thing. And adding on to what you shared, not just commitment, right, but consistency. A lot of the times, people aren't consistent, with what they're building and what they're doing, and they're wondering why it's not working. And that's because you're allowing your procrastination. It's because we're allowing our excuses. It's because we're allowing, these reasonings that we have of why we can't do this, why we can't do that, that really stops us. And that's even more so the reason why we share with people this AI and, the metaverse, to where it gives you your time back. Somebody asked us, the other day, what is it that we do? I said, short, simple, and sweet. We save people time and we help them keep up. Because right now, if you're not keeping up, then you're about to be left behind. And so many people are fearful of this new technology, not knowing what it is, and listening to their broke brother-in-law or their sister-in-law tell them that they're afraid of AI, or they tried AI and they tried one portion of it and they didn't see the benefit in it for them. But that's the thing. It's not just for you. It's for everyone, of how, this AI is going to decrease, or is going to increase our productivity by 40%. And so a lot of industries and a lot of companies, AKA the company you might be working for, 56% of them right now are integrating AI into their business. And so when your business puts it in front of your face and they tell you you got to do it, there ain't going to be no, oh, I don't like it. It's going to be, you use this or we're going to have this replace you. And even right now, a lot of you should be learning this AI and seeing how you can implement that into your business or be, a positive to your business and your brand and not, a detour from your business and brand. And so, Love, you got anything on that? And real quick, Ms. Cleo, I don't know if you have Chatter, but we're about to move over to Chatter. If you don't have it, let me know. I'll send you a link. I'll send you an invite, and that's for anybody that we're going to transition over to Chatter because there's not too many people over here. So put it in the chat. Let me know. I'll send it over to you. 2 seconds to download, and boom, and we'll meet you over there because I'm going to shut this one down here in a little bit after Tara. But Love, what you got?
Well, you always know I got something to say. Well, first of all, thank you, Miss Cleo, for jumping up here and joining us. Thanks, Mike, for being here. We always greatly appreciate all of you jumping in to support, and everybody else that's watching us on, as we stream to multiple platforms. But to get back, not to get back, because this is all encompassing of the fear that is sometimes at play that we don't even know is at play, right? And so here's a few stats on this with fear, business related. Fear is everywhere, but research from Harvard Business shows that fear is the number one barrier to entrepreneurship. Fear is the number one barrier, and it's the fear of failure. We as a society, I'll say this in two parts. We as a society have this huge thing built around we can't fail. And boy, I'm gonna pull up this list because we've shared this before, but we wouldn't have Ford, we wouldn't have Coca-Cola, we wouldn't have a lot of these big brands that we use today if people stopped after the first time they failed. I think Coca-Cola, they failed multiple times before they got it right, and now they're a worldwide business. And if they raise their product 1 cent on, they'd be making billions of dollars a day extra than what they're making if they just raised 1 cent. So we have to understand that failure is a great teacher. If you're willing to be humble enough to say, yeah, that idea did not work. However, here's the lessons I learned, and here's how I can strategize to do it differently moving forward. But we have it as a society in our, country, the United States, we have I don't even know what you call it, but it is a mentality that is built up that you cannot fail. You have to get it right the first time. And show me the rules of the law of where that is. Show me where that is actually what is so. And in reality, that is just the way that we have been taught. Just like we've never been taught how the tools to be able to be self-aware. That is not taught in school. But yet we also are taught not to fail. Don't fail your class. Don't do this. Play, if you're playing sports, do your best and, be a winner. And it's that winning mentality, that competitive mentality that has really set us up for failure, to be 100%. And you have to be very aware, and why I said this is a two-part conversation is because we are moving from that into a point where it's okay to fail. It's actually probably, looked upon with, kinder eyes, gentler, more graceful points of view, that when you do fail, that you've learned something. You're good to go. Like, you have more experience because you have been through failure. If none of us are perfect, nobody. I mean, the moment that you're born, you're not perfect. And so why we live in this society that we have to be perfect or act like we're perfect is completely crazy. And that is something that has been stemmed from, I said this a little bit yesterday, and again, David's always like, don't go deep into it because we lose half the room. But I will just say this. JP Morgan Chase, or well, not Chase because that's a merger, but JP Morgan, the original JP Morgan that started JP Morgan banking, has been famously quoted and was known to only consult with his astronomer and astrologer same person did the same, did both things for him when he was going to make investments. And he said, and is famous now for saying this, and a lot of people don't realize that billionaires use stars and planets to do investments, while millionaires use charts. Again, billionaires make investment strategies around what the planets and the stars are doing, but millionaires are reading charts. And that is huge because you have to understand there is a extrinsical force, and I know that words I said it wrong, but there is a force out there that we can't see because we have been so disconnected in life that we don't know is at play. And so, for instance, we're in a Mercury retrograde right now. Everybody might be like, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, if you're having trouble with technology, or you seem like you just stub your toe every day and you can't figure out why you're not getting ahead, and you feel like you take one step forward and 10 steps back, that is because of what's going on that you're unaware of within the astronomy and astrology realm. And I know that sounds woo woo, and a lot of people are like, that's because I can't physically see it. I can't physically understand what's going on. It's not concrete evidence in front of me. They disregard it. But then life is happening. People go through divorces that, divorces are higher during a Mercury retrograde than they are at any other point. Why? Because things are coming to light. Truths are coming to light. Right now during a Mercury retrograde, you don't want to be making big investment strategies within your portfolio. Why? Because it's not aligned to work in your favor. It might work, but it's going to be a tough go. And because you set it up during a time that is not the best time to do that planetarily, it will always cause you problems. Versus, for instance, David knows how much I love TikTok. And there is a young lady that I follow, and she's from Tennessee. She owns a farm. I am a farm girl for those that don't understand. She is more into ranching and, having, a farm that is animal based. I am more from the agricultural side of, yes, we have animals, but it's a lot of dirt work. We're working in fields. We're more of an agricultural instead of an animal based farm background. Point being is, I like following her, even though everything she shares, I already know from my background, but I like it how she educates people, and it's fun to watch, and it kind of keeps me in touch with my roots when I'm not back home like I am now, and be able to be on our family farm. But the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a thing called the Farmer's Almanac. I don't know how many people might be tuned into that, but the Farmer's Almanac is um, that identifies good times to do plant your seeds. It identifies good time to maybe uh, have your livestock reproduce, so you can have follow that when, okay, this is the time that I need to be getting an animal impregnated, by a bull or by a stallion or whatever it is, so that way it follows the thing. My point being is, it lays out dates that make things work easier. And she every year weans her yearlings, so her yearling colts, the little baby horses, for lack of better terms, from the mama horses, based on the farmer's almanac. And the reason that she does that is because it is aligned with the planets and the astronomy, and that's what they base it upon. But it makes her life easier. It is an easy transition. Now, she has found out by the hard way, when she doesn't do that, that it creates all sorts of chaos with her animals. She has, higher vet bills because the animals are in higher anxiety, and it causes anxiousness within them. And it's just kind of disastrous. So I share that because those are concrete examples of where we are utilizing this thing that most humans can't see as a concrete, evident idea or thing, and we can use it for our own good. That same thing is at play in our business with fear. And we have to understand that right now, when you start to kind of get in touch with those things that some people call, tin hat, or tinfoil hat, or woo woo kind of things that are, way out there, and you're, not connected. Well, in reality, that person is more connected because they're utilizing the gravitational forces of what we don't see on a daily basis to be able to make these things. Now, let me go to this, and I shared this last week because I love to apply concrete things that we as humans understand to things that are a little more unseen, and that allows the bridge of the gap because that's all we are. As humans, we have to be able to see, okay, that's concrete. 1 + 1 = 2, but that would make sense. And that starts opening up a mind and allows people to have a little more open minded thinking towards something. You're not going to, let me tell you this. I don't want you to take everything that I say as concrete evidence. I want it to, spark interest. I want it to add and provide to your knowledge bank so that way you get curious. You're never going to teach people unless they get curious. The moment that people become curious about things is when they're open to ideas. They're open to thinking maybe a little more outside the box than more traditionally, because we've been taught to go 1 + 1 = 2. I can see the hard concrete numbers. I have one apple plus another apple. That means I have two apples in my hand. But we have to understand that there's so much more in civical, and I said that word wrong again, so don't beat me up. But there's those in trivical. That's what I was thinking I was getting to. And by the way, guys, I make up words. It's called the Idaho Dictionary. My mom was just laughing at me the other day. She says, "Did you just make that word up?" I said, "Yeah, I totally did." And so I do that a lot. It sounds great, but it's probably not a word in the dictionary. Sure, probably should be added. But my point being is these intrical forces that we can't see. Let me be able to add some concrete to that. When we're in an emergency room or in a hospital situation, how we're all hooked up to monitors, or someone is if they're there. They have a heart monitor, they have a blood oxygen level monitor, they have all these types of sugar monitors if that's what they need to monitor. They have all these types of monitors. But let's talk about the heart monitor. We all know what a code blue means. That means somebody is flatlined, their heart has stopped beating, it is no longer beating and no longer providing that life force that we need. What happens when that happens? Well, everybody, they run in with a cart, and on this little cart is a little machine with paddles, and they run up to you, and everybody's working on you, and they'll yell clear as they're rubbing those paddles together to make sure that there's actual connectivity between them, and they yell clear right before they shock you. Well, we all know that cart is electrical energy. That's why they yell clear, so that way you're not touching the body and become a source of an outlet for that energy that they're putting into the body. The point of why they do that is because they're getting your heartbeat back into rhythm. They're trying to wake the heart back up and get it to beat again. And electrical force does that. So what is electrical force? Well, let's think of a battery. There's a positive end and a negative end. How many times do you have to look at the remote control to make sure that you're getting the positive to the positive side, right? Let's think of a car battery. You have a dead battery. You need somebody to jump your battery. There is there's two ends to it, and on each end there's two clips. And those clips, one is black, one is red. That means the red is positive and the black is negative, aka neutral. And so it requires, because your car battery has a positive and negative charge in it, that this is back to basic chemistry and things like that, biology as well, is that you have to have a positive and negative charge in order to keep an atom running, to keep it in motion. And so we as humans have a positive and negative charge, for the lack of better terms. Some people will call it the yin and the yang. You all know the yin and yang symbol. That breaks down to positive charge and negative charge. That also equates to masculinity and femininity. Now, all those people out there that are like, no, I don't got any masculinity, I'm a girl, or no, I'm a man and I don't have any feminine energy. Well, let me just back this up a little bit. You do, because those energies are known as a positive energy and a negative energy. Now, I don't mean that as in, negative Nancy and, or pessimistic Patty and, happy-go-lucky Harold. I don't mean that in the sense of how your demeanor is, but what I mean that by is that our energy forces are what is at play. Now, why do I share all of this? Because that's a concrete idea. That's concrete. We know that if someone's flatlining in a hospital, to get their heart back into beating, we have to, shock them or do chest compressions to get that heart moving again. We know if our car battery is dead, we can get going by it, somebody coming with a good battery to jump us, and giving it a rev of energy. So I share all those things because when it comes back to this fear based and the application of why fear runs our life so much and we don't even know it, is because that there's an opposite. For every action, there's a reaction, right? We learned all of that within the science class from a very young age, but we don't realize that the planetary alignment that's happening, or astrology alignment that is happening out, because we can't physically see it, it is nothing more than atoms and neutrons and energy moving around. We are all just energy. And what does that mean? Well, if you put us underneath a microscope, a really, really, really like minute microscope to where you can see anything, we are not a physical substance. We feel like that because when you hit yourself on the hand and clap your hands, you're like, that's hard. I'm getting a noise. I'm a solid item. Well, in reality, no, you're just combined and made up of really small atoms and neurons and neutrons, right? So it comes down to when we start to we start to understand how fear is underlying, and it is, as I shared from the beginning of this conversation.
Uh-oh.
Want to, if our subconscious was at play all day, every day, we would be in your most cozy little room, fortress that was, protected, and you were fed and you were happy. But it would be the most boring life ever because you would never get out of that state of safety because your subconscious wants to keep you there. So when I talk about the research from Harvard Business Review that has found that the fear of failure is there's a study done by American Psychology Association that revealed that stress and anxiety related to work can negatively impact decision making and productivity, that then ultimately moves us into a state of fear. When we are in an anxious state, meaning you're starting a business, we just had this conversation with one of our clients the other day. She, got our business in a box. We were able to help her with that service. And as we were helping her, as we got everything all buttoned up and done, she says, man, I don't have any more excuses anymore. And we're like, well, why is that? She says, because now what's at play is I have a website. I have the ability for people to get up and, get in touch with me. I have my business in a box, which is where people can get more information from. I don't have any more excuses. And that is what happens is our subconscious, when it senses fear, and our subconscious again has a bigger energy field than our actual conscious energy, meaning I can see all the way across out the window right now, all the way across the field and the pasture to the next house, and I can see the mountains in the background. But my energy, my subconscious energy, can actually experience and be able to be in tune with things that are much, much, much further than what my eye can see. And that right there is why a lot of times we will be doing well, I don't have my business cards, or I don't have, my business in a box, or I don't have a website, or I don't have a business phone, or I don't. And in reality, what happens is you're just making up excuses, and you're like, well, why am I making all these excuses? Well, that's your subconscious making these excuses because it ultimately does not want you to get out of that comfort zone. And that is where it happens to be, where you are self-sabotaging yourself and you don't even know it because of the unconscious behaviors that are happening that you have no control over. So, uh, um, Delight, which is a Deloitte, which is actually a big consulting company in corporate America, found that many business leaders are more concerned about long-term impact than they are the impact of what they're going to do or being successful versus the immediate gratification. So a lot of times what happens is people won't start their business because they're like, well, yes, I think I'm going to be, successful right away and I'm going to have all this money right away because I started the business. But it's your subconscious is really looking at the longevity of that. Where is it? It's the unknown. You don't know where you're going. We were having a conversation this morning with one of our clients just about the subject about, a lot of businesses get started thinking that they're going to be profitable within the first 6 months, first year. It's going to be great. And in reality, it takes you 5 to 8 years as a business to be able to build up that portfolio and actually get you where you're going. And a lot of times, because we are in fear, if people knew that, I mean, it's open common knowledge, but if people actually knew that, they would not ever start, because the amount of hard work and consistency, let me say that again, the amount of consistency that it requires for people to show up in their business day in, day out, when nobody's showing up to their audio rooms, nobody's showing up to their lives, nobody's coming in the door, to learn more about their business or to do business with them. That gets real discouraging over time. And it takes a lot of willpower for someone to say, you know what? People aren't showing up right now, but if I just stay on this path and I keep my head down and I keep working at it, I keep pushing this boulder up the hill, eventually I'm going to get to the top of the hill and push this boulder over to the other side, and it's going to roll down and I'm going to have some momentum. But guess what? As that boulder rolls down the next side of the hill, it's going to get to the valley again, and you're going to have to push it back up another hill. And so that is the life of entrepreneurship. I was talking about this with my brother last night. David and I always talk about, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. You're going to have ups and downs, ins and outs. You don't always know if where your next client is coming from. And that right there stops a lot of people, because a lot of people have gotten very comfortable with living in the society as being in working in corporate America. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have gotten used to and accustomed to knowing where that next paycheck is coming. I'm going to get paid every week, every 2 weeks, twice a month, whatever it is. But I'm good because I know money's coming in. And we are a society that is highly revolving around money. And when we don't have money, the survival mechanism kicks in. And when we're low on money and we don't have faith of, okay, it's going to show up. I know because I've been putting in the work. I'm being consistent. It's going to happen. And we don't live in that world of possibility. And that is the number one business killer right there, is that fear of failure, not living in the possibility of where we are going and how we're going to get there. Because as humans, we want a roadmap, especially now. Oh boy. I mean, we live in the world of Google Maps, and before you even go to town, if you don't know where you're going and don't know how to get to that store or that, company, you're going to put that address in Google Maps or Siri Maps or iPhone Maps, whatever. A MapQuest back in the day was going to get you there. And then it takes out that uncertainty. And then you're like, oh, I'm good because I don't have any fear. But before we had this technology and this ability to help ourselves, there was I need to leave 30 minutes beforehand because I know it's in this general vicinity, but I'm not sure. And next thing you know, you're going down the street going, okay, 191, 193, 195. Oh, shoot, I missed 194. Where is 194? Because you're looking for the street address, right? And you had to build in that time. And so, as our modern technology comes down the pipeline, it does help with the fear of failure because there's a lot of things that can be automated. That's why we talk about the automation of processes. So I'm going to take a breath there because I can just keep on going. And I'm going to reset this group and welcome everybody in today. It's so good to have you. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're talking about, is fear holding you back? Or holding your brand back, and essentially, is it holding your business back? And are you self-sabotaging yourself without even knowing? So we welcome everybody in, and we always encourage you guys, if you want to be a part of this conversation, come on up, because we love for anybody else to jump in, share their ideas and thoughts around this conversation and this topic. Also, we want you to promote your business. This is an open forum. If we win, you win. There's enough abundance in this world for all of us to do well, and we want to make sure that the community that we're hosting is being able to go, you know what, I need some financial services from Miss Leah Garcia, who is down there in our most recent Business in a Box client. But we want to make sure that people know who you are, what you're doing, how they can support you, when you're going to be given some intrivical, man, I'm going to get that word right today. It's still wrong. Anyways, some amazing value that you bring with you, because we are all of value. I'm going to tell you right now, Miss Leah and I had a conversation last week, and I can't tell you. I mean, I'm pretty savvy in financial matters for myself, but not in the point where I'm a financial planner or advisor. But you know what? Just like Miss Leah says, I don't do systems. I understand what I kind of want, but I don't build them. And that's what your forte is, and you do it quite well. And I said, and your forte is financial services, and you do it extremely well. So it's understanding where we can help each other out and be able to cross pollinate, because if you didn't know, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, our society was over 90% small business owned. That meant that we had small businesses that were doing their own thing. And that was because back then someone had to be the bookkeeper, someone had to be the banker, somebody had to be the baker, somebody had to be, the horse, shoeing horses, somebody had to work leather, somebody had to make the shoemaker. We had all of those as small businesses, and you would just go down the line and stop at the grocery mart, the little market that they would have, and then walk across the street and get your baked bread. And as time's gone on, and now in today's society, we are less than 10% as small businesses, and over 90% as large corporations. Now, I will share with you guys, that is changing. It's a good thing, and it's because of people like you and I that are out there being able to hold our own and build these side hustles that turn into businesses. And really, it's really um, uh, hobbies that we all love to be in tune with, that we realize, I got a lot of knowledge around this and I could turn this into a business. And so being able to do that and curate those spaces really allows us to grow as a community. But I'll park my scooter for a second, open this up. Mr. Jones, what do you want to add on to that, love?
Well, baby, that was absolutely amazing, especially, with a lot of you guys not knowing or should know, or you're going to know that, Tara and I are blessed to, be able to be digital nomads. And so, for our business, all we need is internet, and we're ready to rock and roll. It got to be good internet. It just can't be no dial up, right? It got to be good, fast internet, because our business is in metaverse and is online. And even when you talked about, the society used to be 90%, entrepreneurs and 10% employees, that phase was the whole entire, United States. But living here in Mexico, everybody has their own business. I mean, if you have a house and it has a downstairs, opening, to it, somebody's opening up a restaurant, somebody's opening up, a food store, somebody's opening up, school supplies. They're opening up a business, or they're putting together their unit and they're going out on the street and they're selling that way as well. And so us as Americans, we've been accustomed to this commercialized way of doing business, where other places in the world, they still have that side hustle, and it's not, oh, you're doing this little side hustle. It's no, you have to, you're going to, because it's additional income. And so I think that's even more of the reason why we share with people that you got to get outside. And I shared with somebody the other day, the American dream is getting outside of America and living outside of America to understand the dream, because we've been bamboozled on both sides. From America, outside of America, misinformation is at its finest right now, when you really get to sit down with people and have conversations with them and see where they're at. And after a while, you'll start to realize that, we all want the same thing. We all want freedom. We all want to do as we please. We all want our families to be well and thriving, and not, the contradictory or the way that is painted today. And even with Miss Christie down there, being a professional in customer service, this is where we all get to collaborate. This is where we all get to come together and not allow our fear of our job. Because me and Tara, we did work at a job, and the fear of not having a paycheck, of the fear of being fired, the fear of saying something wrong, doing something wrong, and your whole entire livelihood is upside down. It's crazy. And I'll share with you guys a story. When I did get out of college, I worked for this company called CBon, and I became, a manager within a year. I then became, a vice president of this up and coming company in almost a year and a half, where they moved me literally. I mean, when I say move, I mean leave your dirty dishes in the sink, leave your car, leave everything. You're going to be getting on a flight to LA in 3 days. And we got your house, we got your rental, and you're going to be working, and we're going to, pack up all your stuff from Houston, and we're going to ship it out to you. Literally, that's what happened. I was like, what? And once I blew it out there, they then moved me to Minnesota, and moved out to Minnesota. They did the exact same thing, and lo and behold, guys, it got to the point where Minnesota wasn't doing the best. And it was even a market that people told them not to go into, because Minnesota has a lot of large corporations and not a lot of, smaller companies. Not only that, the weather. And our company cold called, these offices, and it's a little hard to cold call in 5, 6 feet of snow, and expect people to do that, day in and day out. And so literally this company, said, hey, David, nice knowing you. Here you go. Here goes your pink slip. Guys, they didn't. And I said, hold on, guys. You moved me from Houston to LA to Minnesota. And now you're telling me I don't have a job anymore. Are you going to help me or give me any relief as you did, to get me back home? No, they didn't. And so when people do talk about, entrepreneurship being tough and being, a little bit difficult, I would beg to differ that, it's a whole lot tougher when you don't know, and it's somebody else's decision, and you don't know when that decision is coming. And now you really are, stuck like Chuck. And especially in today's society, as we talk about, this fear, a lot of people are fearful of this AI, and they don't know what it is. All they do know is that it can and it will, replace your ass, just as so many other AI tools is replacing people now. And, even with my sister, worked for Texas Children's Hospital, and she was looking for another job, lo and behold, because it was just a horrible environment. Guys, ladies, literally, she was going to put in her 2 week notice. And I said, no, don't do that. You wait until you get confirmation from the other job that you're good to go, and then we'll make that decision. She walked into the office, I think the next week, and they handed her a pink slip. 1,500 employees were laid off from Texas Children's Hospital, and she happened to be one of those. And thank God she was already looking beforehand. So this company did give her a severance payment, so that was good for them. That she's going to be getting paid double time. Most companies won't do that, but this is what we're sharing with you guys. The writing is on the wall. This pandemic that came up, that happened to us, right? It really put an eye opener on a lot of these companies to where, hey, I do need to digitize my business. I do need to do this. And that's what they're doing. And even, for Miss Leah in the financial sector, People were scared shitless, about Bitcoin, 5, 6 years ago. Now, financial advisors are talking about, hey, you want to invest in Bitcoin? It's a future, this, that, and other. And that was because of the unknown. And so it's all changing and progressively as we move forward, and don't allow your fear to really get in your way. And so, some of the things that I'll share with you guys is, ask yourself, really, let's have an upfront, honest conversation. What is holding you back in your business? What fears do you have? Is it procrastination, right? Is it perfection? Is it the undervaluing, your services? Is it playing small? I know for me and Tara, we've been sharing, with you guys that we're moving up the ladder and talking to some bigger companies because, yeah, we have been playing small, 100. We've been playing very small to where we know that what we have to offer with implementing this metaverse and implementing our biz in a box and all these technologies that we have to offer. Sometimes, the small to medium sized companies just don't get it. And that's okay. But these larger companies are going to understand the value of the facts that we bring to the table, especially after today, just having a meeting with Miss Marilyn, in our Hello Plaza. And I was like, this is amazing. Being a vice president, of a company and getting my actual employees off of Zoom, where I don't have to worry about, the father or the daughter or the dog showing up in the back screen, butt naked or not naked or some costume on that I was watching earlier. You literally get to show up in your avatar and have a completely different look. And so this is
I
what
don't gotta throw my bun on my hair.
yeah, that
Because
part,
my
baby.
hair's all standing on end.
Somebody's at the door, so take over for me real quick. I don't know who that would be.
You got who's at the door? Anyways, yeah, but David, when we talk about playing small, I want to kind of back up to that because David and I, for 20, I was in corporate America for 24 years. David has been in there for 20. He's younger than me, guys. He's been in there for 22 years. And so when we left corporate America, uh, David held C-level executive positions. I did as well. I also worked with C-level executives on a daily basis, whether it was the CEO, the vice president, the president of the company, the owner. I was constantly working with upper executives. And one of the things that David and I had to realize and we share this openly, because what happens is, if we find that the more open we share from our experience, people can find it relatable, and that relatability makes it say, oh, that's not so bad. I get it. I understand totally. And so I share this with you because what happened for us was we started our business while we were both still holding our corporate positions. And we ultimately phased out to where we wanted to run our business full time. And that's usually what happens when people will start their own business. And that's the ultimate goal. And we did that. And you guys, the moment that we both got, into our own business, and we were helping small clients, and I don't mean that to be derogatory by any means, but we were helping the onesie twosies, because we did not have the self-confidence in our own business that we were worthy enough to be able to hold our own with other large corporations. And it wasn't up until about 2020, 2021 that David and I looked at each other and said, why are we doing this to ourselves? We just had this conversation with one of our clients this morning, was, why do we water our brand down? Why do we second guess ourselves? It's all fear-based, 100%. That's where I'm getting with this conversation. But why do we do that? Why do we say, okay, well, we could do this in a corporate capacity? By the way, you are the brand. You are the corporate brand. That corporate brand would be nothing without people showing up and giving their most professional services up front and their knowledge up front. Yeah, you're paid to do a job, but they hire you based on your knowledge and your skill set. And so why is it that we tear ourselves down or second guess ourselves or allow fear to come in and uh, uh, derail where we're going? because ultimately we're scared that we can't talk to executives. I talk to executives day in, day out. I learned how to talk to executives and be able to let them know that no, this is how it's
And
going
they're
to be
not
in the
that
most.
much smarter than you or I. So we make this a whole big old
No,
thing.
they're not. To be 100, guys, I paid a lot of money to go get my master's degree, and I would look at these individuals that would be for instance, I worked with a lot of oil companies: Sicko Petroleum, Exxon, Baker Hughes, you name it. I mean, if they're a subdiary of one of those or the actual company themselves, and I'm working with the people in the executive suite that run at corporate office. I am working with those people, and I'm literally sitting there going, you get paid millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars and you can't figure this out. And I would just be flabbergasted, because I don't mean to take away from their what they do, but all have this feeling of this level of thought that we can't. That's not us. We can't be in the same room or at the same table with these individuals. In reality, bull honky. Yes, you can. You are just as smart. You are just as talented. You are just as worthy to sit at these tables and be able to have conversations and probably sometimes better ideas than them, to be able to bring it to fruition and say, let's do this instead. And that is one thing that I learned through my corporate career and to my own, business career as an entrepreneur with David, that we are worthy to sit at these tables and to provide value and share our opinions and our processes and our ideas of how to work smarter than harder. And we only learn that by going through the thick of it. And that is because of the fear of failure, the fear of, I don't know, then I'll tell you one thing, the fear of being consistent. A lot of people know that they're not consistent at life, in anything they do. And so they know that they're not going to be there for the long haul of it. It's easier for them to be consistent, to show up at a job every day and get paid. Now, I'm not knocking anybody who does that, because we all are in different points in of our life, right? I support everybody with what they have to do in order to make sure they have a roof over their head and food in their mouth and their belly. But we all have to really stop and gain some internal self-worth and build that self-worth up and those self-confidence, that level of self-confidence and that self-love up. We've not been taught that in school. We've been taught to get a passing grade. If you get a failing grade on a test or exam or an assignment or a class or course, you're a failure. And they built that into our head because at the end of the day, school is nothing more than a training program to make you a good employee. School is nothing more than a training program to make you a good employee. There's
Damn,
nothing wrong with
did you
that.
hear me like literally say repeat that? And you've repeated
No,
it.
I didn't, but I,
No, I
I
didn't say it,
energetically I did, love
but
bug.
that's our brain little waves going, baby.
It is. We're always intertwined. Guys, just a side note. I'm in Idaho right now visiting my family. Luckily, David gets to come up here in a few days, so I'm so excited to see him. But he's, for the last 6 weeks or so, been in Mexico holding down the fort. And the funny thing is that he'll text message me and he'll be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And he's like, "I just felt like I should check in." And then I'll be like, "Well, really, what's going on is this." And he's like, "I knew it." He's like, "You'll be okay." But point being is, I share that just because when you've been together for 14 years, like he and I have, we're on the same wavelength, which is a good thing. It's taken us a while to get there, but I want to tend to extrapolate that into our own individuality as humans. Is we need to believe in ourselves more. We have not been taught to do that because, as I shared, we are a society of large corporate America now, where everything is a large corporation. And those aren't safe either. They are not, safe from going under. I mean, look at Enron for an example. There was fishy stuff going on there and they went under quickly and everybody lost their job. Look at Texas Children's Hospital, like David was just saying, and his sister. They just laid off 1,500 people because the economy is turning. There, you feel it, we all feel it, it's here. And so now is the time for us to believe in ourselves, Understand that it's not going to be perfect. It might be a little bumpy, but you know what? You will be okay because you're going to show up every day for yourself. You're going to get through that fear. You're not going to allow fear to dictate yourself and self sabotage. And you're going to grow your self value, self worth, self love, and self understanding at the end of the day. Because when you go through a journey of entrepreneurship, it boy, it's a school. It is not sitting over here with your feet up on the desk going, yeah, I'm the boss. No, this is the school of hard knocks, if you want to say. And I am so grateful that I've done it because it has allowed me to blossom into a much more well-rounded individual. I'm more patient, I'm kinder, I have more self-confidence, I have more self-love, I have more self-worth, I have more understanding of how the world ticks. I don't get upset at other people anymore because I have more grace, because I understand we're all going through something at some point, coupled with the mindset journey of, self-development. It we all go through it at some point somehow in our life, and it really should. I really wish we as a society would get back to where we're teaching our younger generations to know this and how to navigate these things. But we have gotten so into the keeping up with the Joneses, no pun intended, Mr. Jones, but keeping up with the Joneses, and really not understanding that we're in a vicious cycle, and we've got to understand that we've got to break out of that cycle. I was just having a conversation with my brother today. I'm helping him streamline and digitalize his business because he used to do everything old school. And I'm such a new school digital person that I'm like, why are you working harder and smarter? We were taught not to do this. I want to beat your head up against the brick wall right now. Not in a bad way, but just knock some sense into you. And so let me help you with this. And he's like, okay, fine. I finally got him to a point where he wants to do this. And life is finally, like, let's do it. So here we are. And it's funny because now that I'm getting him starting to go this direction, he's like, "Oh my God, this is so much easier. Like, why did we not do this sooner?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why didn't we do this sooner? Because it would have been." But life is funny like that. It works out in mysterious ways, and if we just continue to show up and be our best that we can do our best. We're not going to be perfect. Nobody's ever perfect, but if we will show up and be that person in a consistent manner, knowing that we're going to fumble some days, we're going to trip over our own feet, we're going to fall flat on our face, but you're going to have a lesson to learn. And if you will learn that lesson and be grateful to learn that lesson, this universe is funny that you think you're falling, but in reality, you're falling into a good thing. And so we just have to have that understanding. Put the oars of your boat in the boat. Stop paddling upstream with 17 holes in your boat. Just turn around. The boat's going to fill up its holes and self repair itself. You put the oars in and you go with the flow, because we as society have been trained to try to control everything, which is where that fear based comes from. If we're in control, then it mitigates the fear. And in reality, you're just stepping in your own way of your own abundance, your own blessings, your own everything. And you just need to stop getting in your own way. Stop cutting your nose off to spite your face. Don't shoot yourself in the foot, because then you're only going to have one foot to get around in. And so we just got to be mindful about how we're showing up in this world. And it really starts with you and the inside, and having a real conversation of what is stopping you. Why are you not taking that next step, and you're in doing something that you love to do, or doing something that you're really good at? And how is it because of the fear of not making money and you don't know where your next paycheck's coming? Yeah, we had to work through that. Now we just know that, what, it's all right. We're going to make it. We don't know how it's going to happen sometimes, but we just know it's going to happen. And when you live in that state of understanding, and that you're going to be okay, and that it's going to happen for you, if you will just do the work and keep putting right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, you will get there. But all too often, because we can't see, it's kind of like you walking through the dark in the middle of the house, and you're like, okay, I think that there's a couch over here, but you stop because you're afraid to run into that couch and trip on it or stub your toe. But if you just keep walking, you're eventually going to find the couch. Hopefully it's not with your toes, but if it is, it's okay. Now it's 3 paces in 3 paces in front of you instead of, 10 paces in front of you. It's that learning curve that we need to go through. And we've all been taught to kind of stop believing in ourselves, stop trusting. And that really is detrimental to our own good. So, what you want to add to that, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I love that. Was absolutely amazing, especially when, we talked about this yesterday, that work smarter, not harder. And we have the opportunity to work smarter, and we're not. We're choosing the hard way. And even more so when we talk about that fear, once again, a lot of people say, false evidence appearing real. We wanted to remind you guys that, for us, it's focused energy arranged to react. What do you focus on? Rich people educate themselves, broke people entertain themselves. Rich people think of the positive, broke people, think of the negative. Well, are you focused on the negative? You focus on the positive? What are you focused on? Because it is true that we think to ourselves 60,000 times a day, and 80% of it is false, is negative. We call it racket, right? A whole bunch of negative vibrations and energy, talking about people, talking about this, talking about that, talking about what went wrong, talking about the past. What are you focused on? Because that's the energy that you bring to the table. Is your energy positive? Is it negative? Are you willing to help people? Because we're all in this together. All is one. That we continue to remind you guys all that that energy is so important, as me and Tara were sharing earlier, of how this comes to play. And then how is that arranged? Are you arranging the positive energy over the negative energy? Are you focused on the negative? How are you arranging that? And then a lot of the times we react in life, right? And how are you reacting in life other than responding to it the right way and the correct way that will serve you better? And really, at the end of the day, it's about being rich, and rich not just in monetary, but rich as in energy and vibration and just the overall goodness of it all. But a lot of the times we choose to be right, which is our pride and our ego, and the avoid to look bad, or the avoid to
Or we
avoid
make it
looking
other
good.
people's problem too,
That
instead of
part,
taking
right?
ownership.
That part. And so that's the biggest thing that we want to bring to the forefront of how you guys are really reacting, and how you're moving forward. And so that's what I would have to share on today's amazing Wisdom Wednesday. We encourage you guys to come and join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be having an amazing conversation with Coach K, Kimberly Martin, on our Hello Pivot room, where she's going to be talking about discover self-love and success with Coach K. She's going to be revealing her brand new biz in a box. Not just a traditional website, not just a traditional link tree. This definitely has the cosmetics, has the design, has the systems, has the foundation that most people don't have, which creates a lot of that fear. And that's what we take away, really. If you want to say anything, we give people time, and we take away your fear, of presenting your business and showcasing your business. So you're not walking into the networking event, with blue and black on, and white shoes, thinking you look fly, and you really looking jacked up. And so we get you unjacked at the end of the day, just to be funny about it. But love, that's what I have for today's conversation. And really encourage you guys to come and join us tomorrow, and for all of our weekly events that will probably be changing the time as well. Noticing some things that I've noticed when we tell people, no competition. They decide that they want to compete, and change their times to be around our times, and it's a little awkward. But that's for another day, another conversation for our Getting Naked podcast that you guys definitely should join us on. That we're going to be probably coming back with episode 4 here in the next 2 weeks or so, when we travel, and me and Tara are together. So with that being said, love, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope, I think it was an amazing conversation. This is it's the what stops a lot of people, and they gets in their way, and they just don't understand what's going on. And so today was an amazing conversation, and we appreciate everybody being here, tuning in, and supporting. So with that said, we know the drill.
Love,
Kindness,
integrity,
but most importantly,
commitment,
and consistency.
And until next time, toodles!
Toodles! Good to be here. Bye, guys.